An important analysis was published last week quantifying just how massive 2020's shift in wealth to elite billionaires has been. $4 trillion in exploding net worth for the country's richest people. And you don't need me to tell you, those numbers are not reflected for average Americans. As the impossibly rich got still richer in 2020, the report notes, for most of the U.S. workforce, 82%. Income declined from March to mid-October. 67 million people lost work altogether. 98,000 businesses have permanently closed. Roughly 15% of Americans report being behind on their rent, among other ominous statistics. Now, to be clear, getting rich is not itself anything inherently wrong. If you make a product or service that people want to consume in billion-dollar quantities, great, good for you. That's the dream. What is the problem is transferring this wealth artificially, with crippling rules for some and basically none for others. You'll notice some familiar names on this list of billionaires gaining wealth, among others, Jeff Bezos at Amazon, Alice Walton at Walmart, the sort of retailers that remained open with comparatively few restrictions, while your mom and pop shops and their employees were forced to scale back drastically or even close altogether. Getting rich freely is great. Getting rich by a set of unfair rules stacked in your favor, however, is a scam. And you'll notice this scam is commonly supported by the same people otherwise telling you that wealth inequality is a fundamental problem, if not the fundamental problem with our country. If the rich getting richer is our main problem to solve, then why are these people telling us to shut up, listen to the experts, and obey the orders that are worsening this problem to a level never before seen, according to one of the author organizations of this analysis? And no, this isn't some right-wing organization saying this either. The analysis is by Americans for Tax Fairness, an organization that endorsed Joe Biden and eagerly awaits his super fair plan to tax us into prosperity. But you do have to pick one: lockdown or wealth creation. You don't get both. Either you support keeping the country locked down with made-up rules that benefit some at the expense of others, or you actually want to end this artificial wealth transfer from the bottom to the top. Because it turns out the best tool for wealth creation is freedom. The best way to help the little guy build wealth is to get out of his way, not throw a bunch of hurdles in front of him while you insist that you know better than he does and that you're actually helping. But they'll keep trying that strategy in California and elsewhere to no avail. Instead of picking one, they'll just keep picking on the state's small businesses. Major retailers can operate unchecked, that's fine. But if someone eats an illegal sandwich on an unauthorized table outside your neighbor's restaurant, well, send in the state's henchmen to beat that menace to society into compliance. That was exactly the conflict at a Ventura restaurant on Monday night.
Why aren't you guys at Costco right now? There's 500 people inside Costco, 100 people inside Walmart. What are you doing? Just get out. No one wants you here. Go away. Nobody wants you here. Get out.
Those are state thugs harassing the owner of Nick the Greek, a restaurant now targeted by Ventura County health authorities after the owner protested the state's outdoor dining ban by leaving some chairs and tables outside of his restaurant and looking the other way if people decided to sit there. For that supposed crime, the county has now ordered him to close outright.
Hi, I'm Anton. I'm the owner of Nick the Greek. I had chairs and tables out here on Friday evening as a protest. I served all my food to go. I did not tell anybody to sit on my terrace. It was people's own prerogative to come sit on the terrace. And then all of a sudden at 8 o'clock that night, they had 2 health inspectors come here and not even give me a warning and say, hey, look, this is your first and last warning. They just said, here's a closure notice. You need to close down your restaurant.
And to his point, take note of just how hilarious and out of touch this closure order actually is. Hey, Nick the Greek, you must immediately cease all business activities, but you may still process payroll and provide employee benefits. How? With what revenue is he supposed to pay people? Oh, just enable employees to work remotely. How does a restaurant work remotely? They act like they're giving you a choice, while in fact giving you no choice. As discussed last week, this order says, disobey us and go out of business. Or obey us and also go out of business. So just like the other businesses we saw, for Anton, the choice presented was no choice at all. He had to stay open to survive, so he did. though he did stop his protest and pulled his chairs and tables back inside. Still, the order wasn't to remove the chairs and tables. The order was to close down entirely. Anton didn't, and so these goons showed up to cite him, coincidentally during Anton's interview with Jorge Ventura of the Daily Caller, who did a great job capturing this moment that otherwise might not have been seen. These health department thugs show up with infuriating doublespeak. Come on, Anton, we're just here to try to keep you open by ordering you to close. Why won't you just let us keep you open, Anton?
We need to get your permit reinstated.
What do you want to happen here?
Okay.
What is your goal? Is your goal for people to follow the
Street
rules?
is dead.
Is that your goal? Is your goal for people to follow the rules? Hold on. I am following the rules and I want to go about my business. Why do I have to go to a hearing? Why do I have to do all this stuff?
Because
I'm trying to keep my business afloat and now you're giving me more work on top of that.
Right, so you're arguing with the wrong people. I'm not the person to argue to. You need to get the permit reinstated to wait, okay?
We'll let you open if you just comply with our order to close. Yeah, the trouble is your order to close doesn't come with a corresponding order to cease Anton's obligations and expenses. Are you thugs going to pay his rent? No, of course you're not.
What about my employees? Just because the health department has a whole process to go through that takes however long that takes, I have to close my business for that time? Are you going to pay my rent? Are you going to pay my rent?
You chose to make those decisions.
We want you to flourish by killing yourself, Anton. Just trust us. This is the way. As infuriating as these contradictory and impossible orders are, there's something extra insulting about taking them from this sort of person. If we're going to be abused like this, I'd prefer it at least be by someone strong and respectable, like Khal Drogo in the Dothraki, just ravaging through your city with overwhelming force. There's at least some dignity in losing that fight. But instead, we're supposed to listen to gender studies Khal Drogo here in his tiny little buzz-cut ponytail. This is the ultimate indignity. If we have to submit to tyranny, can we at least get some more imposing tyrants? Now, maybe it's unfair to attack that guy personally. Then again, maybe it isn't. For all the dystopian oddity in this scene, there's a subtle moment that's especially creepy. Check this out. During the exchange, there's a woman at the counter getting takeout food, and she's not interested in being part of the scene, so she just walks by on her way out the door, and Ponytail Guy whips out his phone to take a photo of her from behind. Just doing my job, just following orders. If it's creepy for him to do that for his spank bank, it's creepy for him to do it for Gavin, too. And the only thing this guy is creeping on harder than that lady is the Constitution itself. Let's count the ways. Anton considered leaving those chairs and tables outside as a form of protest. He didn't direct anyone to sit at the tables. He didn't serve anyone at the tables. Maybe you think calling that gesture speech is a bit of a stretch, but the county didn't think so. Health authorities told him that would be a perfectly acceptable form of protected speech.
The health department I spoke to on the phone that afternoon, and they said it was fine as a protest for me to do that.
They said it was speech until they decided they didn't like the speech, and then it wasn't speech anymore.
I'm allowed to protest!
You are allowed to protest. You'd like to run a stop sign and protest.
And of course, all of this is being conducted with total disregard for due process of law. What's being enforced here is not law. It's just some health official's edict issued with authority punted from the legislature in total abdication of their proper constitutional duty. Legislators, accountable to us and serving at our consent, make law, not unelected faceless bureaucrats. And if you want to surveil private property like this, there's also a process for that. Lawful search means getting a warrant first. Consent matters, whether you're taking pictures of that lady walking away or whether you're monitoring Anton's kitchen for compliance. And yeah, I know, we can get technical here. Actually, that's not a law enforcement search, so this is just a civil matter. And actually, state emergency police powers are very broad. I get it. I'm not arguing a technical legal point here. I am arguing in favor of fidelity to the philosophy of our Constitution. If we follow it, technicalities are avoided, not exploited. I understand it's a difficult time and we all need work, but let's be very clear about what these two thugs at this restaurant are doing. They are accepting a paycheck that was forcibly extracted from productive members of society like this business owner to stop him from continuing the very production that pays them in the first place. They took his money at gunpoint, and now they point the gun to stop him from earning any more. If you wouldn't rob your neighbor's house like that, you shouldn't feel any better about sending state goons to do it on your behalf. What we're watching in this case, and thousands more like it across the country, is fundamentally immoral. In saner times, we would have been heating up the tar and fluffing the feathers and unraveling the rope to fully comply and follow the science. Pathetic, useless balls they have left. Fine, Susan, perhaps we need not be as forceful, but remember, the only thing that gives these people any legitimacy whatsoever is our consent. All of this stops when we stop consenting. If left to them, it'll never stop because they don't want it to. It only stops when we say no, as Anton did, and as those supporting him are. He told them no. And as soon as those videos were posted online, he started getting calls from faraway places to support his business.
You're so awesome. Well, you did a lot. That means a lot. I mean, you ordered $100 worth of food and left a $100 tip, I heard. I mean, that's really, really, really kind of you. Thank you so much.
That is the only way this ends. Exercising our right to consent and supporting each other when we do. Anything less means letting this guy run your life. As the saying goes, there are fates worse than death, and life under this crushing ponytail would almost certainly qualify. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter, that is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.